Yay.
Alrighty. So I have a little bit of a interesting surprise tonight because I got, I guess, what you would call a download, I guess,
Yay.
a little bit earlier this week. So Ajax had me prepare a material, so I'm assuming people want to speak to it. Not really sure what we're gonna go here, but let me go ahead and get into the channeling state, and we'll see what's gonna happen.
Very exciting. Mute everyone, and you know how to ask for questions.
Do you want me to?
What's that? Say again?
I said mute everyone, and you all know how to ask for questions.
Yeah.
Sorry, before you go, do you want me to go ahead and share screen?
Alrighty. I'm gonna go ahead and get ready. Ding, ding, ding. Class is in session. Greetings, hello, and salutations to you all. We hope that you are fine on this joyous day. We do, as the channel alluded to earlier, have a special gift we would like to give this evening or day, whatever moment of your time it happens to be. LB, would you please share the image and please let us know when it is visible?
It is up.
Most excellent. What we would like to discuss today is a little bit more detail, understanding of belief structure. So we co-created with the channel to have this image presented to you in this form. First, however, we would like to lay some foundational groundwork to set the stage. You experience your reality through beliefs. Beliefs, if you will direct your attention to the lower right area, are the foundational blueprints that construct your reality experience. And as you hold a belief, you move into a certain alignment with that belief in emotion, motion, energy in motion. This energy can act as your emotional compass to let you know how in alignment you are with the belief that you are currently holding. And as you experience those emotions, you once again come into vibrational resonance with the thoughts that are accessible at that experience. So thoughts will come into your heads and you will pop in thinking pleasant things or not. Notice that each one of the corners of this particular triangle has both positive and negative attributes in description with beliefs, emotion, and thoughts. We describe these as mechanical energies, not in a judgmental way of good or bad. They are simply positive or negative mechanical energy. So, for example, trust, a positive, expansive, inclusive energy for a belief. Doubt, really a little trickery here, for it is simply a trust in something else, a restrictive energy, a disallowance, a disassociation from that which you are holding to consider. In emotion, empathy, being able to connect with others, understand where they are coming from, once more expansive, encompassing. And then on the negative side, judgments, holding yourself in separation from the world, perhaps separation and judgment of yourself and others. On the thought side, paradoxically, you have oneness and division, where there is a very fine line between the two concepts. But think of it as coming into that vibrational alignment of being in oneness with all the thoughts of that particular experience. Or on the negative side, holding yourself separate in division from all the things which you do not wish to experience and yet paradoxically do. So, with this particular foundation, let's dive a little deeper into this particular framework. Look towards the upper right, where beliefs are initially formed. The very first experience as you are, quote unquote, walking down the street and a little old belief happens to come on by and enter your experience. The very first thing is that there had to be an alignment to allow that belief to enter that experience. So it is presented to you as a choice for your consideration. Then, as you are starting to feel it out, having a little bit of vibrational discernment as to whether or not it makes sense to you, you start to accept whether or not the belief will have particular bearing, weight in your reality, whether you will allow it to influence you and what you experience. And from there, if you continue to focus, pay attention to that particular belief, it will magnify, amplify, and you will be able to perhaps make use of its concepts through your actions. Then, on the build up towards the emotional expression, you holding that particular belief may begin to feel, oh, this belief is empowering. This belief is helpful. This belief is expansive. Or on the negative side, this belief is restrictive. This belief makes me feel blocked. This belief makes me feel afraid of something. And as you continue to build that, you move into further judgments of your world and others. Do you start to feel equal to others in your experience? Or do you start to feel better than, worse than others in your particular experience? You start to hold yourself separate. And it builds even further into, on the positive side, harmonious connection with all that you experience, or disassociation from it. Then moving on to the thought side, you begin to think, well, because of this belief that I happen to hold, the others in my reality, the environment that I am experiencing must be this particular way. And that has implications for how I will choose to act towards it. Perhaps others are simply there for my own purposes, and they have no bearing other than to be used as pawns. Or they are there for expansive relationship to allow me to know more of myself. And in this understanding, I begin to understand the principles of how reality is governed from this particular belief. I make sense of it, cognize it, understand it fully. And in that understanding, I am complete. I do not need anything else to educate me. Then another little belief may come on by and force you to experience the process all over again. Notice that in this particular illustration, there are color associations from the belief, the deep red associated perhaps with the root chakra. In the emotional expression, the heart chakra. And in the thought expression, the majestic violet expression. As you look to the particular phases, levels, which were previously discussed, you can see that there is actually a gradient moving from one to the next. So as you begin to move into alignment, there is a certain root beingness that must be present for you to begin to experience and observe the belief. Then a certain sacral creativity of how you accept that particular belief and begin to apply it within your experience. How might I use this to any possible benefit? Then, moving along with the flow, you have, well, this now makes me feel a certain way, and I feel empowered from a solar plexus intentional perspective. I can do something to which I prefer. And now I feel equal to, connected to others, in relationship, in association, harmonious with those other beings. And as I begin to have the thoughts, I can communicate with those others my own perspective, my own truth. They are there, part of a community, to support me and bear witness to my experience, while I also bear witness to theirs. And in the deep wisdom of the third eye, I am understanding how this belief is structured and all the intricacies of how it plays out in my particular experience. And in that understanding, I am complete and connected to spirit and the source of the belief itself. Then let us play a little different cycle with this particular framework before you. Let's use a concrete example. Say perhaps you are a individual living a very 3D life, and you believe that your consciousness is limited within your biological being and will not extend past its termination. A little old belief comes by in alignment with you, saying, hey, perhaps you are an eternal soul that will always exist. You consider this, play with it, ponder it. It feels empowering. It feels joyful to think of. And through that, the relationship that you have to yourself in your environment, perhaps you allow yourself to experience more joyful states of being, less experiencing of the rat race. Then, as you take actions that continue to magnify that particular belief, you then begin to accept, yes, this is true for me. I now fully believe that I am an eternal soul, and this makes me feel equal to all the other eternal souls that are out there. I am in relationship with them, and I understand that this is how the universe is structured. And now, with further actions, I can begin to use this knowledge in some way that is of benefit to myself and in service to the community. And in that expression of service, I am harmoniously connected to that community in service to all, and I am complete in this. Or perhaps a little belief comes along that no, I am simply limited to my biological vehicle. I cannot extend past this. And when it terminates, I will terminate. This feels restrictive, disempowering. I now am in competition with others. I feel disassociated. They are also trapped in their vessels because they have told me this my entire life, and I am now choosing to believe it. It must be so, and therefore I must hold myself above others because in that competition there is a scarcity of resources, and I must do and take actions which perpetuate myself in this scarcity environment because this is the way that the world works. And as I continue to do so, I must continue to take those actions more and more and more. And I am ultimately separate, disconnected, unassociated with the rest of the world because this is the way the game is played. And all others are pawns in this game that I must master. So we hope that this framework, this tool, this understanding of how beliefs perpetuate and amplify will be of service to you. And we ask that you take some time, perhaps, to consider it, decide if you accept it, and if you so wish to, use it to your benefit. LB, you may stop the sharing of the screen, and we will pause here for any questions.
Thank you very much, Ajax. That was very helpful, and I think that no matter what your level or high vibrational level, that it will be helpful.
You are most welcome, and that particular attitude is a very high vibration.
Thank you. My question relates to something that Raven told us in the heart circle meditation last week. The second person that was invited was an ancient race. I believe it was called Utsello, but Patrick was unaware of how to spell it. Can you help us with that and tell us a little bit about that energy that was brought into that heart circle?
Unfortunately, no, it is not appropriate yet. This will play out in the appropriate amount of time. It is not our position to bring this information in.
Not even the spelling?
UT apostrophe SOLO will do.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome. And have heart. It will not be that long until you understand more.
Miles?
Well, I certainly did enjoy that. Thank you.
You are welcome.
So I'm working on bringing a new perspective to my life, and that is my godhood. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to see my life as if I am God. In my within the limits of my capabilities, of course.
As anyone can do. Yes.
And what I'm finding is something that is quite surprising. Well, I realize that even though I create my reality, I don't. That I create my feelings from my beliefs, which create vibrational pathways, which bring in the thoughts that you talked about in the presentation. But the actual creation is being done by myself as all that is, and I'm not aware of that either.
If you needed to be aware of it, you would become so. If you are not aware of it, it is not yet relevant to you to be.
So what I see in my life is what God has created in my life, or I, as God, have created in my life.
And
Is that correct?
well, it is your consciousness that is creating the entirety of your experience. Whether or not you attribute your entire consciousness as godhood, all that is your particular preference.
And the reason I'm asking about this is if that's correct, then everything that I'm experiencing in this now moment is perfect because it is God's creation.
Absolutely. It is always a perfect expression of whatever that particular vibrational state is.
And therefore, since it's God's creation, it's neither good nor bad. It just is, correct?
It is intrinsically without meaning, yes, and you are supplying the meaning you wish of your preference.
So Ray's been coaching me so I don't get too carried away. So I think we'll leave it here and I'll pick up with questions later or maybe later in the session. And Ray, I'll turn this back over to you and thank you very much for that enlightenment.
Yes, and before you conclude, we would just point back to the belief amplification structure we presented earlier and ask you to consider where you might fall in that with that particular statement.
Thank you.
You are most welcome.
Hi, Ajax. This is Luis.
Hello, and
And
how are you doing?
hello. Glad to be here again with you.
We are most
Just
happy here as well.
thank you. I'm going to pick up a question from the diagram that you presented and information you presented. So
Yes.
the beliefs being central point gives me the indication that if I have a belief that is in some way negative, in some way that it is creating dissonance, I am to very quickly engage in how to disassociate from it, and in effect replace it with some other beliefs or shift in beliefs.
We would pause you there and state that just because a belief uses negative mechanical energy, it is not intrinsically without value. It is more about your emotional compass and how you and your being aligns with that particular belief that you should adhere to.
Yeah, I think that I do get that part. But what I'm striking or trying to get to is where I should put my focus would be to try to resolve how that belief that is discordant, it's bringing information that is appropriate for me. But then as quickly as I can focus on how to shift the belief systems in the direction that are more appropriate. And that mechanism is really a form of guidance. A very strong form of guidance. Is almost like a gyroscope.
Yes, and apt analogy.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my commentary from the diagram, and I see it then as central, and you can follow the whole structure of the diagram with that mindset basically. Now, the question that I originally wanted to ask really has to do with a dream that I had last night, in which two sets of being appear fairly vividly. The second in particular. The first one appeared to be a feline being, high, tall, black skins, tones. I associated with Lyrans, and it was sitting kind of somewhat obscure, receded from at some distance from where my position as an observer, as if they were just observing. But very quickly after that, this other being, much larger than the Lyran probably was 7 or 8 feet tall, and much larger from the point of view also of the growth physicality of the being. The first one being very athletic and trim, tall, fit. This second being was actually coming at me, walking, and it's kind of hard to characterize it. I wish I was capable at drawing. But it was clear to me that that being was directing its steps towards me, and that as it approached, it was much larger than the Lyran and much, I would say, 10, 11 feet tall. It was also dark. The skin was dark, but the attire was very peculiar, and it was kind of white golden attire, and it had some kind of you could call it a head a dress that accentuated the contrast between its body, the colors of the body, and the attire, and it was imposing, very imposing. And I actually took a step and basically said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! I need to figure what this is, before we proceed." Can you give me any information on that dream?
Yes. Well, the feline entity was more of a guide of yours, helping to assist you in the introduction, though it wasn't truly an introduction, but from your perspective, it was more of one, of this entity that approached you to yourself. The stature of the being, you described it as larger than yourself, correct?
Yeah, much larger. Yeah, much larger than the feline being that you had just named as a guide as
Yes.
well.
Did you participate in the heart coherence meditation that was presented earlier?
Well, I didn't participate, but Ray sent me the link, and then I did it afterwards. A couple of days after.
And
Uh,
what did you connect to in that meditative experience?
at the moment that I did it on a direct, I didn't nothing particularly except a general feeling of that I was actually connecting to very advanced civilizations. That's what as a general. I didn't
Yes.
have the visions. And yes, I did think this morning it may have something to do with that.
Absolutely. This
Yeah.
particular dream that you described was a result, a manifestation, a further introduction of you participating, taking the action to participate in that heart coherence meditation. This advanced culture was what this being that you experienced was from.
Yeah, the feeling that I had this morning was that this being, and there were a couple like him surrounding the area where it came from. But he came, just like almost like at the speed that a human would be approaching you if they wanted to hug you or greet you. And the feeling that I had was that this particular being not only was in a very advanced civilization, it is from very far away in what we call our universe, not
Yes,
our galaxy.
correct. These particular beings were related to a earlier discussion that we had about your star family that you would ask assistance for particular events in your experience. They were part of a association with the beings that participated. You are moving quite well along your path in this introduction, and you will have more experiences. Continue to playfully explore your relationship to this being that you met. Visualize as best you can how they might appear in your daily experience, what you might do, those actions you might take if they were to appear, and how your relationship would develop. This will help to bring them further and further in coherence with you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Good information. Thank you so much, Ajax.
You are most welcome.
Christina?
Yes, hi Ajax. Thank you so much for the gift. In the beginning, I thought it was really nice. I look forward to re-listening. I really enjoyed it. Um, I had a question about the full moon that is happening tonight. So for me, it's actually a particularly special full moon because it's in the same sign as it was during my birth, and I was actually born during a full moon as well. So the combination of those things. So I was born on a full moon in Aries, and right now we have a full moon in Aries. And I literally feel like it's my second birthday. I don't, that's the only
You
way
are
I can just,
coming full circle into your experience and beginning a new cycle. Yes.
oh, okay. Yeah, that was actually my question. Would you be able to comment on, because I literally feel like, yeah, like it's my birthday, like I feel like I'm seen by the cosmos. I don't know if that makes sense. I feel like just there's something that's like, it's not like there's like, I don't know if you can say like it's like a blockage has been removed, and it's just like just feel like there's like a direct alignment. Anyway, yeah. So I would love to hear your perspective on kind of that alignment, and maybe how to best harness the energies of right now, maybe the next couple of days as well.
Well, you simply hit the nail on the head when you described it as a rebirth, for it is a cycle that you have completed as you're starting into the next cycle. We would not attribute it as a blockage, but you can continue to experience it that way if you wish. The cycle which you previously experienced was part of the growth that your soul desired and was necessary for you to enter the new cycle, the new phases of playfulness in your reality that you are beginning to uncover.
That's very cool. And do you mean for um this year? Because I guess it's a yearly occurrence, or do you mean the whole karmic cycle? Because I have a lot of cardinal signs. I have 5 planets in cardinal signs, and so the Pluto leaving Capricorn, entering Aquarius very soon. That's supposed to be an ending of a cycle as well. Do you mean that cycle, or the yearly one?
We do not attribute this to a yearly cycle. No, we are speaking more about how you have come to the conclusion of a particular theme that you wish to explore in physical incarnation. And so you have chosen a new theme to explore and are starting to embark on your adventure.
Yes, that is a very accurate description of what's happening in my life. Thank you. Thank you for the validation.
You are most welcome. And really, it is you validating yourself.
Yes, thank you.
Ajax, I had a very awesome and exciting experience today when I attempted to bring in a channeler to begin channeling. Could you just provide me any information at all about that?
Well, we are happy to hear that you have continued to expand on your channeling path. First of all, we would point to, firstly, was the experience joyous? For we assume it was, but would like to hear your description.
It was exceptionally joyous, and the connection was very clear and powerful. I enjoyed it immensely.
Yes, and we would most wish to impress upon you that you must trust that that particular experience was authentic, for that will enable you to continue to unfold into more and more of that expression that you are beginning to lay out before you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You are welcome, and we would also add some more natural elements to it. Nature, growth, vitality in the forms that are most pleasing to you, and you will enrich the experience even further.
Excellent. I will certainly do that. Thank you, Ajax.
You are most welcome.
Miles?
Continuing, so the impression I have, Ajax, is that in my godhood, my my purpose is to experience whatever it is I'm experiencing in my now moment, and not to create, in the sense that I'm coming from a logical place, but to follow my experience in the now moment as my guide to lead me to where I want, lead me to wherever it is that I'm going.
Yes, this is how all beings navigate their reality, or would wish to. We would state that you are always creating, whether you believe you are or not.
Yes, I understand that, in the sense that whatever my beliefs are is creating my vibration, and by my vibration is like the symphony that the universe, the musical score that the universe follows in creating my reality. But I'm not actually consciously doing that. It just happens. So, for instance, in my now moment, which Seth calls the spacious present, I can turn my focus anywhere. And as I do that, then I'm sending it energy and activating that and bringing it into my reality.
Yes, absolutely. One may need not be conscious of the mechanisms of reality creation to experience it. This is the way it was designed by you when you incarnated, so that you could not be burdened with the minutia of those details. But as we have shared the tool, the framework with you, being conscious of how it is operating, along with all the other information that you have acquired, can allow you to more precisely drive the experience in that direction which you do prefer.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Ajax. I really appreciate that.
You are welcome.
Ajax, I have another question, and it has to do with me trying to connect. And receiving this flow of energy that entered through my feet, and came to my mind that presence identify itself as I am the eternal one. And as I repeated that myself, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 times, my body got full of energy, vibration. Felt
Yes.
good, by the way, felt really good. I interpreted that to be the energy of my higher self.
You are absolutely correct. The
Okay.
energy coming through the soles of your feet is indicative of your grounding experience. And as we alluded to in the earlier tool, that root chakra, that grounding to your reality and your participation is in it, is directly something that comes from your higher self.
So in the past, I have experienced connecting to my higher self in what I call the seamless flow of thoughts that I know they don't come from me, the little human mind. I get that a lot when I have clients and start interacting with them, and I say things or do things that later I say to myself, wow, where did that come from? Anyway, so I experience it in that way. But this time when I did this, and I was actually trying to connect to let's see, what energies want to show up. I realized that I can connect to higher self in the very same way they can connect to anything. There's no apparent difference. The only thing that I noticed I was different was it was coming through my feet. And that's not the way I have felt other things, basically. So,
Perhaps the novel experience is allowing you to have a new perspective of the energies, a new
yes. And
relationship with your higher self that might be more advantageous than one that you had in your previous experience. We would like to comment on something you mentioned earlier. You spoke of having particular thoughts and saying things that were unexpected with others. We would ask that you consider it as you being the driver, a vibrational being that is coming into alignment with the thoughts at those vibrational levels, allowing yourself to experience those thoughts. And then, as it is so natural for you to do in your reality, taking the actions that are commensurate with the thoughts that you align with.
yes,
The environment around you that was driven and created from those previously built up beliefs drove your particular experience down a particular path in that session. And you rode the currents of it.
that describes what my sessions are. I just follow, the flow of the energies that show up for me, which and I sort of align to a degree, of course, with the energies of that person that's in front of me. Thank you so much. Appreciate that answer as well.
You are
Hey,
most welcome.
Hi again, Ajax. I have a question. I actually it's inspired by something Luis was saying. So he was asking, about a dream and kind of the things that happened in the dream. I also I just feel like whenever I get visions or whenever I get, sometimes when I'm reading I use tarot as well sometimes to communicate. and just sometimes there's just like symbolism that I don't know what to make of or I don't understand. And I was wondering if you have any tips for just better understanding it. Like, for example, I had a recurring theme in tarot. I've gotten so many readings and things, and there was always just like one element that was constantly present that did not make sense. And I think I know what it means, but I mean,
Well,
I'm not for sure.
describe the element that presented itself to you.
So, the element was constantly so I'm in the period of my life where I'm asking a lot of questions to a lot of people about finances and career. And the theme that kept popping up, which does not make sense, was like romantic love. And I'm like, I mean, thank you, but like that's not what I'm talking about. And it's just constantly like on repeat, different readers, my own readings, all the things. And I think I'm just like, hold on, like, is it like, just because I've had like partners help financially significantly, and I'm wondering if it's like attachment to that, or is it like, I don't know. I really don't understand why it keeps coming out like that.
Do you feel that your abundance is not coming from you, but from others?
Do I feel that my abundance is not coming from me or from others? Wow, that's a really intense question. I might have to ponder that. It's a really good question.
Well then, please do so.
I guess maybe that is what that meant. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, Ajax. That's very helpful.
You are welcome, and we would also add that the particular symbology of perhaps romantic relationships is in some way correct, but is not the entire meaning that you are getting from these reads. It is your relationship with all of your community and the abundance that is provided to you through that community. You can have the perspective that your abundance is drawing these things to you through these individuals, and that this is, in actuality, your own power. And they are giving these things to you as gifts. And this in itself is a type of abundance.
Okay, thank you. I will need to re-listen to that. I'm sure I absorbed it, but I thank you very much for the gift.
You are welcome. Ray,
Yes, sir.
what questioner will be sufficient? And then we will conclude the session.
No one is in line, Ajax. It's been a very expansive and exciting and informative session.
Most excellent. Then we will conclude here. We were glad that we could answer the questions that you have, and we hope that you will take the time to ponder and consider the gift of the tool that was provided, if you so choose to do so and come into alignment with it. We are in service to you all. Avail.
Avail. Wow and double wow.
Yep,
As
that
I
was so
like,
nice.
yeah, as I like to say, holy shit stains, Batman.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea how that was gonna go. So I was very curious myself.
Oh my
First
God.
time that I've ever gotten like that, like you must create this to facilitate this session.
Well, way to heed your
So cool.
impulses. That's a better connection, right? When we get those impulses and information, and if we act on them without caring why, just we know that it's valid and it's for us. And because that's how I've been living my life for over 30 something years. I tell people that, I live my life by my intuition. yesterday I was going to get a spoon to eat something with, and I was told, no, grab the spoon with the round handle. So I don't know what difference it makes in the whole scheme of things, and I don't care, but I put down the spoon I was going to get and I grabbed the one with the round handle. But I guess that was just another test, to make sure that I'm still listening and responding to whatever I get.
That's right.
It's all like part of that. Will you take what is coming through the channel from higher mind or wherever and
Right.
act on it? So that for me was just one of those, will you take the step or not sort of things. So I'm cool that it came through and it was something that you guys seem to find helpful. So
Yeah.
thank you all.
And
very
it was professorial, if I should say that.
It
Yeah, I
fits
don't-
your style of
totally
communication,
biased.
Christian, I think, right?
Yeah, I kind of like, because Ajax has said that he's a teacher before, and I definitely get like a, you're in class, professor's talking sort of vibe from him occasionally. So
Right. More biographs are coming.
well, hopefully he doesn't decide to like go on a PowerPoint Ranger spree or
Yeah.
something. Well, thank you all. The environment here is getting a little chaotic with the kiddos, so I'm gonna end it right here. Thank you all.
Well,
For
before you
Okay.
do,
Thank you, Christian. Thank you so much.
everybody
Thank you
has,
very much.
does everybody have Luis's Zoom information so we can continue this awesome energy if you choose to? And if not, you got a little bit of chance before Christian cuts us off. And thanks to Leslie.
No problem.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Christian.
Mhm.
I will
Bye-bye.
not be joining you guys.
Yeah, I
I'll
gotta
see
go.
you
Okay,
in a few
Amanda, you have a
weeks.
good
All right.
good
Thank
night.
you all.
I'll see you
And
guys
I'm
later.
not gonna be
Bye-bye.
joining
Enjoy,
either,
and thank you
but
so much, Christian.
We'll see you, Miles, somewhere around. Well.
Bye,
yeah,
Christina.
yeah.
Bye,
I'm
guys.
looking forward to
Bye-bye.
it.
Good night.
Bye.
Love to all.